Hey guys! So, I got sent a video today and it kind of made me think like, oh, I should make a video on this. This is a video that I highly recommend you guys check out. It's by Darman. Long story short, what it involved is there was a very expensive car, $350,000. One person looks rich, the other person looks poor. And the rich person, it's assumed that he can afford to buy the car because he has a nice suit, he looks well put together, but it doesn't go through. It's shared that he has an image that he wants to uphold, and he really wants this car to kind of signal to other people that he made it in life. Now, the poor person who was instantly dismissed, they were able to buy the car in cash. Now, I know this is a hypothetical situation, but it made me kind of think to myself, it's very important for you guys to kind of keep this in mind, because I find sometimes people treat other people a certain way because of indicators. So, I've shared with you guys how visually driven I think society is. And the reason for that is because we're in a very image-based life. So we got Facebook, we got Instagram, we got YouTube, and it's really encouraged to have images of perfection. And for instance, right, when we think about music videos, we think, okay, well, if a guy makes it in life, he wants to get a hot chick, he has to be basically like this. Okay, yeah, you can be wearing a yellow t-shirt, look kind of goofy, but as long as you have like a nice car, all the hot chicks are going to come to you. And I've also shared with you guys before, don't assume that a person with a pretty outside is a really good person inside, because I have found people who they care so much about their image, you guys, but inside they're a total piece of crap. Yeah. So you can build muscle, you can buy a nice luxury handbag, you can put on makeup, and yeah, it might attract people, but at the end of the day, people don't want to spend their life with a person who's a total jerk, a total jerk, or a total, a total witch, because looks fade. Muscle mass fades, looks fades, designer handbags, they eventually get kind of, they actually show wear and tear after a while. And when I think about my younger years, right, when I was in my 20s, which was, let's see, I'm 33 now, so that was anywhere from 13 years ago to 4 years ago or so. Man, my early 20s, I know I sound like such an old lady talking about it this way, but my early 20s was really eye-opening to me, because I was aware of guys in their mid-20s, early 20s, late 20s, and they were leading with their possessions. And you would think from the outside in that these guys were rich. And this is one of the reasons why I share these kind of thoughts. But when you actually look into their finances, they're not rich. They spend all their money on their car. They spend all their money on a nice watch. And at the end of the day, even though I didn't have such a great job, like I had a job that was making about $43K a year, I just kind of thought to myself, like, gosh, it's like they have nothing in savings because they just want to maintain a lifestyle, or they're not being financially frugal. So sometimes people think like, okay, well, I want to be with a guy with, a nice outside, nice car, nice this, and they instantly just, like some women, they're just really, how would I say this? They only go for guys who look like they have the Ferrari, guys who look like they have, like lots of wealth. And when they do that kind of thing, right, they can find that outside of all his stuff, it's like he is broke. Like he could be broker than broke. He could be in the freaking negative. And I've known guys where they spend all their money on their freaking car, and then you find out from people that they can't spend money doing other things because all their money is tied up on their freaking car. It's stupid. It is incredibly stupid. So I just wanted to, I guess kind of got off tangent over here, but I really hope that none of my viewers who are watching this stream, I pray, you guys, you don't think like, okay, well, I gotta wear, fancy clothes, and I gotta spend all my money on my car, and then I'm gonna get this hot chick, and then I'm gonna live happily ever after. Because if you get a hot chick, and she's drawn to you because of your car, because of what you have, you're going to have to be able to afford that kind of hot chick lifestyle. And I'm not talking about just basic necessities. I'm talking hair, I'm talking makeup, I'm talking nails, right? Because maybe she's thinking, oh, okay, well, this is a super rich guy, and he's going to be able to bankroll my high maintenance lifestyle. And if she finds out that you can barely afford for yourself outside of your flashy possessions, she's going to get turned off 100%. So don't be one of those like freaking idiots who think, oh, I'm going to get flashy, and then, yeah, the girl's just going to care about my car, and that's it. No. So I've known guys who have the nice cars. I know guys who have idiotically told me really stupid things, trying to lead with their car, like, oh, here's about my car, here's when I bought it, and it's like, okay, so what? Like, it's a car. It gets you from point A to point B. Everybody, I've told you guys before, I have like a 2001 Toyota Corolla in Hawaii. I don't let that car define who I am. If anybody says, right, if anybody told me, Erica, why do you drive such an old looking car? The reason why I would say that is because it's my mode of transportation. What's the big freaking deal? Some people go on the bus, some people use, a bike. You can't just define my whole worth by, oh, you have a 2001 Toyota Corolla, and yeah, it's not leather seats, it's like these fabric seats, and you don't have like a great sound system inside, you don't have the flashy rooms, Erica, because I rather spend my money in investing things rather than spending it on a freaking car. Like, yeah, if I really wanted to, I could buy a Tesla. Do I want to have a Tesla to just drive like 5 miles? No, I don't need that. I don't need that kind of like car just to drive like 5 miles around Hawaii. No, shocking. So it's really like a weeder. And I've known people, and I've shared this before, I've known people who are incredibly rich. And when I talk about rich, I'm talking not just 1 million, I'm talking several millions of dollars. These people are very grounded, and they're also very private. So unlike me, where you see me basically talk and blab about my life, these people will never ever have a YouTube channel. They really value their privacy. And they're that kind of person where they're very confident about themselves to the point that they don't care. They don't care about what people think about them, because they already know they made it in life. They already have the real estate. They already have the money in the bank account. So if anybody is like, going into their path, like let's say a hot chick's like, oh, hey, oh, I noticed you have like a, wow, I really love your, expensive car. Like, he's a guy who has like 2 brain cells, assuming he didn't get rich off of, something like a trust fund or something like that. Any guy with 2 brain cells, any person with 2 brain cells, if you have a woman who looks like a 10 out of 10, just like casually chat you up, and while you're in your Lamborghini, she isn't into you just because of your smile. She is into you because of the car that you drive, because of what you're flashing. And that's why I say it's so incredibly stupid for any guy, any person, okay, not just guy, male and female, to kind of think, okay, I'm gonna get this expensive car, and I'm gonna get all the hot people there. If you want to get an expensive car for you, go right ahead. It's your money. That's your prerogative. It's not like I hate the look of expensive cars. I think the expensive cars are very beautiful, but I know what kind of people it attracts, and any person with 2 brain cells also knows that kind of thing. So that's why sometimes you'll see people who are really rich, and they won't have these expensive cars because they know they don't want to deal with the drama. They don't want to deal with, let's say, they're a really rich guy. They want to find a good life partner. And if they have an expensive car, they might not find a really good woman. They could find a woman who takes them to the dry cleaners in the future. You see? And I've said this before. If you are looking for a partner, you have to look within inside. You cannot go ahead and be like, okay, well, I'm going to get the chick with the prettiest nails or the prettiest hair or the prettiest makeup. Because, yeah, while looks matter, that is all a construct. They go and intentionally go to a nail salon, go to a hair salon, learn how to do their hair. It's not like when you get out of the shower, they're going to look that pretty. See? Or they go to the gym and then they gain the muscles. So all this stuff, right? All this image-based stuff, people can achieve it if they have the money and the time, or they hire the professionals. So this is the reason why, again, you don't see me talk too much about, you don't see me be all like, okay, well, then there's the rich people who are pretty, or there's aesthetic people, and then there's like the poor people. Because a poor person can look expensive if they either spend the money on it or they invest the time to learn and pick up those skills themselves. See? So, yeah, just like, it's just so stupid. So, I wanted to just also lead with this over here. So, there's this guy. You ever notice this guy? So, this guy is the guy who said, I'm the captain now. Barkhead Abdi. So, he was paid $65,000 for that role. Okay? But look, now he's struggling to make ends meet. And you would think, hey, if this guy's an actor, he should be loaded, right? No. He used to work for his brother's mobile phone store. And then now, because he doesn't have any work, kind of surprising to me, he doesn't have any work, he's completely broke. So he had a nice fancy suit, that's rented. See, he's with celebrities. This was his role. He had a car. Look at this car. But look, like it's clothes, it's rented. See this? So, going back to what I was saying. Let's say this guy had a dating profile on not Tinder, Bumble or something, or Plenty of Fish, right? Or Match.com. People would look him up and be like, holy crap, this guy must be loaded. Because he has, I saw pictures of him with Tom Hanks, and he was in a movie. He was in a big movie. And he's in a Ferrari, and he wears an expensive suit. No, that's not the case. So there's a big difference between like someone's public life and then also their private life, their private financial situation. And again, from experience, there are a number of people that I know, that I've known in my life, that I've known about, where they either live above their means, so they have debt, or they live below their means and they're incredibly financially stable, but you won't know it because you would just think to yourself, like, how can a person with, let's say, a 2003 Honda be rich? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, if you look like you have a ratty reusable bag, how can that person be rich? That person can't be rich. A rich person would have everything look sleek and expensive. They would be in the newest BMW or something like that. And that's not the case, because all this kind of stuff, it costs money. And the only way people make money, the only way that people amass money to be wealthy is they have to save their money, or their income has to be very high, or alternatively, they're very good at investing their money. So sometimes you'll find people who are very frugal and they're millionaires because they've saved their way into like $1 million or so. And so overall, much ado about Erica just ranting, doing her typical kind of stream, but much shorter. I really hope that you guys have a sense of self-worth, that you don't fall into the trap of possibly getting into debt over your image. Again, people might think I'm really being, they might be like, well, Erica, you're just being bitter because, you can't afford that kind of expensive lifestyle, or you're being bitter because, you want to have a expensive watch, but you can't afford it. Look, here's the thing. There were a lot of things I could have bought, but I didn't buy because I just thought, why am I going to spend so much money on a freaking item when I have a cheaper version of that item that works just as well? Why do I need to buy a $15,000 watch when I have a smartphone? Or why do I need to buy one when I could just buy a watch for like $10, or I possibly could get one for free? So I think it's a lot better to have assets, assets that can grow, investments, rather than possessions which are depreciating. And if you guys want to impress, and someone who's very wise once told me, they said, Erica, I'm not impressed by a person's watch. I'm not impressed by a person's car. You know what I'm impressed by, Erica? And I said, well, what impresses you more than their watch or their car? And they said, the size of a person's house. Keep that in mind, okay? And this was said in Hawaii. You guys, last time I heard, the average median house in Hawaii is $1 million. And I believe the average income of people is about, I'd say $50,000. A lot of people I know in Hawaii, they make about $40,000 or so. So you got to save money in Hawaii 100%. And yeah, see that? Yep. So I did actually look at that book, The Millionaire Next Door. I also am aware that, it's like if you have a lower lifestyle, you just walk around with, let's say, t-shirt and jeans. Like if you want to look more put together, I'm not saying you have to buy the Armani shirt. I'm saying just buy like a shirt that fits you well. If you like wearing dresses, wear a dress that flatters you. It doesn't have to be expensive. It's all about the fit. So, right, you guys know I've done many streams about it before. I really think guys look really good wearing dress shirts. And the reason why I say this is because most of my viewers, from what I see in my analytics, are males. For women, like you can go with like a kimono wrap dress, because like if your weight goes up, it's very forgiving because it's it's like you just wrap it around your body. So if you gain like 2 pounds, it's not like, or 20 pounds, it's not like you really have to buy like a whole new dress. It's not like a form-fitting dress. Like it doesn't, how would I say it? Like a kimono wrap dress is adjustable. So I really like those dresses. You see me wear them every so often. I think in my stream that I did with Jessa, iPad Rehab recently, you'll see me that blue dress I was wearing. That's a kimono wrap dress. So if I gain like 20 pounds, I could still wear the same dress. Or 30 pounds. So, all that stuff. Yeah. But the other brand of shirts that I would recommend is Uniqlo. So I think Uniqlo makes these really good basics. Let me show you guys this one. I know it's an Erica stream. We're getting a little distracted over here. But it's related. I promise you it's related. So Uniqlo is really something because it doesn't lead with like the brand name. And I like it a lot because it's all about like fit. It's all about cut. It's all about quality. There was this one guy in a repair shop that we saw, and I was looking at a shirt and I thought like, why does that shirt look so familiar? So I had to ask him, I said, did you get your shirt from Uniqlo? And he said, yeah. Yeah, so I have this thing where if I see a person with like a really nice piece of clothing, I'll ask him like, where did you get this? What's the brand name of it? Because I like sharing stuff with other people. Like obviously I'm not going to be wearing a men's Uniqlo shirt anytime soon, but having this knowledge is good because it can help someone else. Okay, so let me see. T-shirts. One moment, you guys. And this stuff is like pretty freaking cheap. So let's see. Yeah, see? So like these, for instance, they have this. Oh, Supima. This one. So if you go with like Supima, Supima, like it's just like a higher quality cotton. And I can't describe it. It might not show well up on pictures online, but if you go in person and you check out these shirts, they don't look like your freaking $5 shirts. These actually look a lot more expensive. And then the colors, see? So I think they have more than just two colors, but yeah, it's the sleeves. Hold on. You see the sleeves? Like this, I don't know if you guys can pick it up, but you got all these like fine little sewing stitches. So it doesn't look like the shirts that you buy 5 for $20, those touristy shirts. The fine stitches is something that I really notice. Yeah, my eye gets, I notice details. I notice a lot of details when it comes to certain pieces of clothing. And if I notice this kind of stuff, then I'm thinking like, ooh, I wonder where they got it. I wonder if their shirt is expensive. So yeah, you can wear a nice cotton shirt, but just make sure it's a higher quality. And I would highly suggest checking out Uniqlo, not just for men, but for women too. I have a few Uniqlo pieces as well that I really like. So just sharing that with you guys. And it's only $14.90. Like, frick, this is so much of a better deal than going to Macy's for sure. Jessa. So I did a stream, I think last week with Jessa Jones of iPad Rehab. He doesn't have a watch, so I'm gonna read this really quickly. So yeah, now I'm gonna just go over to chat because I'm not really good at reading chat and doing my streams at the same time. Yeah, so I'm using my Audio Technica 2020 USB again. Ah, that's Erica. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. The maintenance of those cars is expensive too. So if you have something like a Mercedes or a BMW, I had an ex who used to have a Mercedes, and he used to bitch at me about the price of the oil change. I think it's like $300 or so if you go through the dealership. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I never told him this, but I thought to myself, like, why are you complaining about a $300 oil change when this car is worth way more than that? You see? Okay, so Esanil says there's basically two kinds of people that I see with extremely expensive cars. The extremely rich, the wannabes that keep themselves poor and wasting all their money on cars they can't really afford. Preach. So yes, the extremely rich are the people who have like the whole lifestyle, right? And they're not in debt. And if they are in debt, they're going to get through that debt. Like, let's say, for instance, they're not paying for cash, but they make such a high amount of money a year that, it's just a matter of time that they're going to get paid for it. It's even better if you can pay it off in full. Like, you go over there and you're like, I'll pay in cash. But yeah, then you got like a whole host of wannabes. And I really hope that you guys are able to distinguish the wannabes from the true rich. See? So do not think that just because someone looks like they have a ratty reusable bag, that they're freaking super poor, okay? Because sometimes, right, I've had it where people would act like, oh, Erica must be like super broke because of how she looks like. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm like super broke? And then, I know how much they have in their bank account. I know how much I have in my bank account. And it's like they're way more broker than I am. And it's just like, but the way I live seems so much more frugal, right? Because it is much more frugal. You're not going to see me with the designer stuff. Like, I think the most, what do I have? I have like it's not even a designer really, it's like a Kate Spade wallet, but I bought that used for $20. So, yeah, I buy a lot of my like handbags and clothes. I buy them all pre-owned because I just kind of think I don't want to take the depreciation cost. Or even my, a lot of my like vintage stuff that I wear, they're pre-owned, so I wasn't the person who bought it new, and I like having it that way for sure. It's a lot more environmental, and I can be more choosy. It's not like I go to Macy's and I'm like, okay, let me just buy whatever they have there. Like, if it's a really nice piece, maybe, but I don't see myself wanting to expand my little jewelry anytime soon. And if I do, it's not going to be real jewels, because what if I lose it, right? Or what if I get robbed? I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, someone took off with my $10,000 tennis bracelet or something like that. Like, no. Wow. Brandon says, richest guy I know plays in the MLB, drives a 1992 Honda Accord. Yeah, also, when you have like cheaper cars, when you have like cheaper items, which, it blends in with people, right? People treat you like a regular human being. I think it would be very, very unsettling to me. Like, let's say I drove up to Whole Foods in a Lamborghini or something like that, assuming I could drive a Lamborghini. But let's just give an example here, right? Let's say I go to a place or Whole Foods like a Lamborghini. Everybody looks at me, and then they'll be like, "Oh wow, she must be rich, or maybe she has a sugar daddy or something like that," right? It would make me very uncomfortable because if anybody talks to me after I get out of that car, if they saw me get out of that car, I would think to myself, I don't think they're interested in me. I think they're interested in because maybe they think I have money or they think I have connections. And that's why they're being so nice and friendly to me. And I don't want those people in my life. I don't need people who just see me as like, oh, Erica has expensive stuff, so I want to be a hanger-on because maybe I can get something out of her. Yeah, so Lewis doesn't wear a watch. He just uses a smartphone. That's one of the reasons why I heard like some luxury watches, the sales isn't as so strong because people are like, why should I have a watch? I always have my phone with me. Yeah, I know a bunch of people, older generational people, like maybe 40s, 50s, they all have Casios. And they're financially very stable. I've also heard not only Casio, but like Timex is another one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So Wes said, people in chat, if you have 5 minute chore to do that chore while you're listening to Erica. Yeah, you don't have to like watch my streams. You can just listen to me. And I highly recommend that. Yeah. Every used BMW, sir, if you buy it for 5K, you'll... Wow, look at that. So Brandon said, having worked on BMWs, every used BMW is 30K. If you buy it for 5K, you'll need 25K in work. Oh. Yeah, I like my Toyota Corolla. I like it. It's not, how would I say, it's a basic car, it's reliable. If my car gets damaged, it's like, okay, big deal. Not, if I have a scrape on the side, you think I'm going to cry over that? No, I'll be like, frick, the car was like less than $3,000. I don't really care. Like, whoops, I got a dent in it. I'll live with the dent. If someone asks me, why does your car have a dent on the side? I'd say, the pillar jumped in front of me. You'll notice, like, the way I am, I don't really care if, like, an item of mine gets damaged too much. I'll be like, accidents happen, or I know how it got damaged. I don't lose sleep over it. Wow, look at this. While most people have to buy a car right away, for the most part, buying car is the sign that people are making a bad choice. Carmageddon? Really? Worst buyers? Oh, I don't know much about the buyer market for cars. I know the rental absolutely blows. BMW has bust my wallet. Ugh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Yeah. So, all that stuff, it's just like, yeah. So I hope for you guys that you guys continue. I'm not saying be frugal on everything in life, okay? Because, like, for instance, if my computer breaks 100% and this thing is unfixable, 100% I'm getting another MacBook Air, like, or another MacBook. It's like I just love using a MacBook, but there are other things in my life that I cut, that I don't use or I don't spend money on, so I can justify buying the MacBook because, it's just my thing. Some people, they'll be like, oh, I only want to be, have this kind of like brand pen. For me, the only thing I like to use for my computer is a MacBook because I've used it since 2012. Yeah, 2012, and I've had ups and downs with this computer, but overall, it's like I use it. I'm like, I just like looking at that Apple logo. Yeah, that's just me. So again, some people, they thought like, oh, Erica, if you get an iPhone, you must be kind of like a hypocrite because you preach about having the frugal lifestyle, but you want to get the newest iPhone. I was actually just talking about it, And I kind of decided at this moment in time, what I realize is that it's not my camera really, it's more the fact that I can't stream really well with that camera. But it's not just me, it's a data connection thing. So you guys see, if I do edited, no, if I upload the video, as long as it's not in low light, it's so much better than if I do a live stream. Because when I do live stream, that's when you guys start seeing potato quality. Because I saw someone who was who did some kind of like live stream recently, and they had an iPhone. And I was thinking, like, why is the quality so shoddy? This is an expensive iPhone. And yeah, as stupid as it is, I just thought, like, man, so what if I spent like $800 on an iPhone, I stream, and I have potato quality? Oh my gosh, it would be terrible. So yeah, I'm still sticking with my Samsung Note 8 Plus for now. But yeah, I will have to eventually upgrade my phone. I don't know what I'm going to upgrade to, but it's not a priority for me to upgrade that phone. Yeah, so that was very eye-opening to me. But yeah, so the streams that I do typically, you'll see like OBS. Obviously I don't need an iPhone for this. This is just streaming my computer. You guys might be able to hear my fan. It sounds like a jet engine right now. Maybe not. But overall, right, it's like I don't rush into my purchases. That's another thing you'll notice about me. I like spending a lot of time thinking about it. You can say I overthink things. But just because I have like something on my mind doesn't mean like, okay, in 2 minutes I'm going to buy the iPhone. No, that's not it. I'm very, very slow at making purchases, because when I do make my purchase, I want to know like 100%, is this something that I really think I would use? Is this something that I think will, if I have a problem, like it'll solve it? And yeah, I know. It depends, like, so let's see over here. Yeah, you guys can read this. What? Oops. Why am I back on Uniqlo? See? So let's go back to the Barcat D thing. He's broke apart from a weekly allowance that the studio provides and a car which he can use for official events only. Yikes. See? So, watch out, watch out. Because sometimes people think celebrities, they're really freaking loaded, but they can just have a lifestyle in front of the cameras, because that's the kind of image that they preach. And that's the other thing too, right? I imagine there are people, I've heard about people on Instagram, like Instagram influencers or YouTube influencers, where they'll go into debt trying to spend, trying to buy these like haul videos, or, travel around the world, trying to signal to people like, look at me, I'm so rich, I'm going to go to Rome, and then I'm going to go to Italy, and then I'm going to go to, Canada, I'm gonna go to Iceland. And at the end of the day, it's like they don't get the views to recoup that investment, and then they just like eventually run out of money. So I think that's kind of stupid. It's just like, sometimes I see those videos where they say I spent $1,000 on buying a bunch of clothes at so and so place, and then I think to myself like, okay, yeah, maybe you got some views, but is your monetization high enough to warrant that $1,000 investment? Because you would need to get a lot of views, and it wouldn't be just people looking for 30 seconds. It would have to look much longer than that. So these people, right, these people kind of do these kind of things not because they're kind of curious to see how $1,000 of clothing looks like. They're curious. They think that maybe this is what's going to draw people to click on their videos. And same thing on Instagram. You'll see people who it's like, oh, look at my expensive item I bought for myself. And then you'll see people like, oh my gosh, that looks so amazing. Heart. And then what happens afterwards? Like, are they going to put more of this expensive designer stuff on their Instagram or on their Facebook or their YouTube or whatnot? Or is it just going to be a quiet period when it's just like, okay, well, I got to save enough money to buy another expensive item to show off to my fans? So that's a flaw in this kind of stuff. That's why I think like sometimes like people, if they're able to have kind of one of those like lifestyle YouTube channels or Instagram channels, I hope they can finance it, because again, I've heard about people going broke because they're just thinking like, I'm gonna spend money to make money, and if I show all these expensive items, maybe people will follow me, maybe people will look at it. But Like, for instance, if I wanted to go on this whole, like, ooh, look at my luxury bag thing, right? Let's say I dropped $3,000 for a Christian Dior bag. Yeah, I'll make a video. Maybe I'll get like $10 worth of monetization, but I'm still down $2,990. And then I have to store the bag as well. So that's why I just kind of think like I don't understand the value of that kind of thing unless you have a really big following and unless you can ensure that you will make a return on investment, or you really want the freaking handbag. Google Pixel line. You don't need to buy a new TV, just buy a used TV. Oh yeah. So Asenzel says many people that become celebrities instantly start to behave like they're people that have been successful for years. Yeah. Yeah, I did in my first movie. Now let's behave like I'm Steven Spielberg. Yeah. So you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of what's that word? You know those rappers? Like, I'm like, who the hell is this rapper? And then you find out they're like walking around being like, look, I spent $250,000 on my bling. It's like, I don't even know you. Like, how do you even have this money? And I've heard that sometimes like rappers get advances. So let's say they have to like produce like, they have to like pump out like 4 different albums and then they get their money. So sometimes they'll use their upfront money that they get from the record company to buy their bling. But it could also be loaned bling. You don't know, right? Or overinflated number for bling. So yeah. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna get going because I want to keep this stream kind of short. I think this stream is like longer than I anticipated. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I think this was a pretty good talk, and yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Gosh, I wanted to make this video shorter and I didn't. Trats. Okay, you guys.